Hey guys, welcome back to YouStation Tube. I got a few requests from people to share some stories from medical school so far. So I thought I'd share an experience from the clinic, the operating room, and the classroom. While shadowing a urologist, we saw a young guy who had erectile dysfunction due to some penile trauma. He had just had a procedure that was very successful to fix his condition. And when I was in clinic there, he told the doctor that before he knew this could be fixed, that his outlook on life was awful. He actually planned on taking his own life. And now that it was fixed, he felt totally fine about his future and was back to being his normal happy self. So no matter what specialty you go into, to some extent or another, you will be saving lives as a doctor. You don't just have to be an ER doc because you want to save lives. So there's this one surgery that I scrubbed in. While the procedure was going on, the fellow accidentally nicked the abdominal aorta, and so blood was shooting out, kind of like what you see in the movies from this guy's aorta. They did a great job stitching everything back up and making it so, like nothing wrong ever happened. But it was at that moment when things got really, really intense that I started questioning my decision to do surgery a little bit more. I'd always thought that I wanted to be a surgeon, but at that moment, I wasn't exactly sure anymore. So now I'm a little more open-minded since that experience. I talked to the surgeon a little bit later, and he said that a lot of the comorbidities that this patient had actually contributed to thinning out the aorta, so it was easy to ligate it, just doing anything around it. But nonetheless, it was still a very revealing experience for me. That really helped me open my eyes to other possibilities within medicine. For the first 2 years of medical school, I took a medical ethics course. This class met with the physical therapy students, so there were normally about 250 students in the classroom. So the class was taught by an MD-JD, so he was a lawyer and a doctor. He was up there talking about forgiveness in medicine, and he asked the question, he said, "Who's read the book The Sunflower?" So I read a book called The Sunflower, so I raised my hand, and then I quickly realized that I was the only one in the whole classroom who had read The Sunflower. So I started to lower my hand, but before I did, he noticed me and he says, you over there, why don't you give me the synopsis of this book real quick? So I start out by saying, well, it's a book about a woman who breaks off her engagement. She moves from some big city in the US to a small town in South America, and there's an orphanage called the Sunflower, which is near where she lives, and she meets some guy who's a doctor, and they end up falling in love. And by the time I said that, I looked up at the professor who was teaching the class, and he was just staring at me, blinking. And it struck me, I was like, why is this guy asking about a romance novel in a medical ethics course? And after a few seconds of him staring at me, he said, sorry, I think you and I are talking about different books. And the whole class burst out laughing. The book I read was a Richard Paul Evans book, and the book he was talking about was about the Holocaust. So yeah, I felt like an idiot. But those have just been some kind of fun experiences and eye-opening experiences from my first few years in medical school. I hope I have some experiences my next couple years in medical school that I can share with you guys. Thanks for watching, and take it easy.